Guys, we have a special one for you guys here today. Not only are we going to become aware of a lot of things about ourselves, but I'm going to walk you through a couple of really awesome exercises and we're going to learn some cool things. So we're going to start here today by relaxing certain parts of your body. So we're not going to go in super deep. I'm not taking you into a hypnosis session, but we're going to do a little moment of relaxation here. It has a purpose. And that purpose is for you to become aware of certain things about yourself. So if you want to participate here, I'm just going to now ask you to relax certain parts of your body. So I want you to just close your eyes and you're going to focus. And I want you to become aware of how not relaxed or how unrelaxed your muscles, your certain muscles are. So tune into certain parts of your body and I want you to notice, become very, very aware of the places that are not fully relaxed in your body. Okay, so you're becoming aware of that. So just notice if there's kind of any tightness, any tension that you're holding anywhere. And so if you notice these places that are unrelaxed, they're not relaxed, I want you to just take a nice deep breath. You're going to use your breath to create this soft, calm energy in those places that are currently unrelaxed. Ready? So nice deep breaths. Just focus on your breathing, and I want you to breathe in some nice light energy into those spaces. And just allowing them to get more and more relaxed with every breath that you take. And now as you let them relax, what you're actually doing, what you're really doing, is you're letting go of the emotions that are being held in those muscles, stored in them, if they're always unrelaxed. So as you take your time, and do please really take your time to relax. Allow this to be very enjoyable and to relax down to your deepest levels of relaxation. Excellent. Now you're just going to start to blink your eyes back open into the room. Okay, so if there were parts of you that were unrelaxed, the only reason why is because there's some type of emotion or belief being held within the body. And I'm going to tell you that this emotion and this belief is not some type of high, uplifted, excited, happy energy, that this is some type of belief that needs to be let go, or some type of emotion that needs to be let go. Our body will tell us. Our body is like a blueprint for our emotions. And it will lay it out for you. It'll tell you here, like, let's say that you have problems with your right knee. This means that you have problems with a significant male in your life. Father, brother, uncle, somebody, so on, friend, whatever, significant male. Let's say you have problems with your left knee. This means that you have problems with a female in your life, perhaps a mother, perhaps a grandmother, perhaps a friend. Our body is telling us, it is telling us when we have aches and pains, it's directing to us that we need something to do about it. So if you have anything wrong with your body, anything at all, and you might say, oh, well, you know, I have this issue, but it's because this happened to me however many years ago. Well, I'm telling you, the reason why that happened however many years ago was to get your attention, because there was something that you were thinking at the time when it happened, believing it, like I'm telling you, when I regress my clients back, if they have had an injury, there is a starting point, and it is always a thought, a belief, something that they thought. I worked with a boy who had a shoulder injury that it wasn't healing properly. Played sports. So we go back to when this very first began, and it was right upon the initial hit that he took in his football game that he had some type of really negative thought about himself. And I can't remember what it was, of like, oh, hope I don't get hurt, or I don't remember. I mean, this is years and years and years and years and years ago, but there's always some initial cause, or somebody will, tell me, oh, well, no, this happened when I, hauled this box over here and then this happened. It's like, the physical thing that you were doing at the time when it happened has no bearing, has nothing to do with it, because the only reason that happened to you at that time when you were carrying the box was because of some type of mental, probably pattern, because it probably wasn't the first time that you thought that thought, and your spirit, your soul is now saying, hey, pay attention, stop. So I used to, I have this book. If you do not have this book, you will love it. You will love it. You will love it. It is so helpful. You can just look up ailments. It's alphabetical. You can look up ailments. You can look up certain parts of your body, and it will tell you the emotional causes behind them, the possible ones. So I use this with my clients, and when I tell them, the description, typically 90%, or sometimes more of what is written in the description, because it'll be a paragraph, will be accurate for them, which is very helpful, because then, they know before we even begin a session, oh, these are the things we're working on. Because when you heal the emotions behind the ailment, it heals the ailment. And our body is not the physical body that you're looking at. Your hand is not your hand. It is, but it is the energy that is underlying it that is keeping you healthy or not. The energy underlying it. So have you guys ever seen that? Those, I don't know that, I think this word is wrong. They're not infrared cameras. But essentially they can see, they might be, essentially they can see energy, like behind a wall. If you were to take a picture of it, it could tell you, where the water lines are, or where electricity is running through the wall. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, they took a picture of this plant after they had just ripped one of its leaves off. And the photo is showing the energy imprint of this plant. And in the photo, even though the leaf has currently been ripped off, it is still present in the photo. It is still present in the photo. So this is, I also had a client back in the day who had one hand. And she would, sometimes get a really itchy hand, but she didn't have that hand. And hadn't had it for, I think at least over 20 years at this point. And so what would help is if she actually itched, like the hand that wasn't there, it would help. It would help that itch that was there. So we are not our bodies, but we're the energy that lies underneath it. So if you're curious about that book, it is called The Secret Language of Your Body. The Secret Language of Your Body, written by Inna Segal, Innasegal. Inna Segal. You can download it. It's super handy and convenient. So I used to use this book. I still currently use it all the time. But I used to use it for when I was married. I remember one time slamming my finger in a door, like pots and pans cupboard, making supper or whatever. And so I look up that finger. Like, you can look up a specific finger and it will tell you what it means. And it was like, pissed off at a, well, I wouldn't have said pissed off, but angry at a male or something like that in your life. And it's like, oh, wow, it does know me. But I took it as a warning, right? It slam my finger in the door. Okay, I look it up. Okay, that's not in alignment. So it is a warning that if you keep it up, your finger's going to break. There's something worse is going to happen. You're not just going to keep getting slammed, and a reminder, because that's not how it works. So any little thing is a sign from spirit, because we are a soul. There is no coincidences. Zero, none. They do not exist. That's not a thing. It's not a real thing. all of it is a sign from spirit, from our soul. So if you have any physical issues going on, for example, I burned myself very regularly. I love to cook. It is one of my absolute favorite things to do in the day. I look forward to making supper every night because I just love to cook. Oh, I love it. But this means that I'm in the kitchen a lot, so I have burned myself many, many times. And I got to tell you, when you're living in a situation where you're not happy or you're not being treated fairly or properly, it can cause a lot of internal anger. Why? Because we subconsciously know that we deserve better, that we do not deserve this. And so when we're sticking around in a situation that is lower than what we deserve, it will cause internal anger, internal resentment. It will cause all of these things, and these things will subconsciously happen even if you're not consciously aware that they're happening. So you might end up getting a burn. Okay, maybe there's some anger that needs to be dealt with here. Maybe you're angry at yourself for staying in a situation that is burdening and draining your energy. It's not necessarily that you're angry at somebody else, because here's the thing, everything is a mirror, so it's always about us. Always. Now, I'm not saying that means that you can fix a situation with another person by you changing, by you doing whatever. What I'm saying is it's all about you, and sometimes we need to let things go, let people go, let traumas go, let the past go, whatever it happens to be. We need to let things go so that we can be free and raise our vibe up to the frequency of love. And if you are in an environment where that is not possible for you, then you need to change your environment. And I'm not blaming your environment, because it is you that has allowed it. It is you that created it through your beliefs at some point in time. But it doesn't mean that because you created it, now you're in it, that you need to stay stuck in this forever. No, sometimes this is a lesson. This is a lesson to learn what you don't want, so that you can know what it is that you do want and what it is that you do need for your highest joy and happiness in this life. So if you are really happy and really joyful, you are emitting this high frequency, this beautiful high frequency of love. What a wonderful thing. Now, as you do this, that frequency of love is going to permeate your environment, and it's going to do good and wonderful things for you. It's going to attract things that are good and loving into your life. But if you are in an environment or in a situationship or in a whatever you happen to be in that is draining your energy, it's very, 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 very hard to do this, right? So what can we do about that? Well, first of all, I'm going to go with my favorite solution to everything, and that is to be by yourself. Go and be by yourself. Take a spiritual retreat and go and be by yourself. Disconnect from the world, from the Wi-Fi, from all of the things, and just be. So much will come to you when you give yourself, when you gift yourself the time. Right? Time is so precious. Time is so precious, and it goes by so fast. It's just a blink of an eye. It's gone. And you don't need to take your time and give it to every single person except for yourself. This is your life. What do you want? Because it's about you. And if you don't know what you want, a really good way to figure that out is to go and be by yourself. Have a spiritual journey. So when I go up to my cabin, which, I live quite some ways away from there now. But when I go up there, I go for weeks at a time. And I wish that I would have booked off, considered, thought about having 3 more weeks up there this year. It just didn't work out. And I had to go to Arizona and do all these things that I had committed to. So, and that might seem like a lot of time to you guys, an extra 3 weeks. I mean, I was up there for a long time, but what happens over that time is you are gifting yourself something that you can't get anywhere else. Doing anything else, being with somebody else, you can't get it from anything other than being present with yourself, by yourself, disconnected from the Wi-Fi, disconnected from everything, meditating, hanging out with the divine, and setting an intention before you do it. If you go and find some place that you could go and you could spend your time. What I do is do yoga and meditate, dance, except this time I had no music, that type of thing. I've gone up there before and I've brought my paints and I've spent time painting, and I would go and I would paint a bit and then I would sit down and I would meditate, and then I would paint a bit and I would sit down and I would meditate, and it completely changed my art when I was doing this process. And I wish I would have brought it up there with me, but I'm moving some of my things from my house in Canada down to the States where I live here now, and so I needed as much space as possible, and my canvases and all my paint supplies would have taken up my whole Bronco, so it wasn't an option. But when you do these things for yourself, take the time for yourself, and let's say that you can't do that. You can't afford to take the time off work or whatever happens to be to go and do something like that. Well, then you need to set aside a time where there's nobody else around, dedicated time for yourself. So Friday after work, when you get off work, that's it. No more people. Go put your phone away. Let your people know, hey, I'm not going to be responding to any texts this weekend because I'm not even going to be looking at my phone. And then go lock it up. Go put it away. And then spend the weekend with yourself, by yourself. With yourself, by yourself. And if you don't have people that are going to respect that in your life, that's a different, separate problem all of its own. But when you do this for yourself, it will change things. What do? I study the Christ letters. So I'm sitting there and I'm absorbing this truth. And I just get so much and so much and so much more out of it every time. But what happens? So, I'm going to be putting on a retreat here. And it's going to be something. And it's going to be able to give whoever attends time to be by themselves with their own self for several days. And there's so much healing that is going to come from this, and there is going to be endless amounts of support there. But what happens when we gift ourselves this time is we set an intention before we do it. What is the intention? People do this with the moons, right? The full moon. Oh, the full moon's coming up. Okay, I need to let go of this. Okay, the new moon is coming up. I need to set an intention. What is an intention? It is literally a thought of, this is what I want to get out of this. With this full moon, I release, all that no longer serves me. I release this specific trauma. With this new moon, I invite new energies. I open myself to receive new offers and new energies and new higher vibrations and frequencies. It is all just a thought. But what happens when we set this intention is then we have to believe in it. So we believe in it. So when I go up to the cabin, I always set the intention, I'm going to have some type of enlightenment and healing, and I'm going to get exactly what I need out of it. And then that's exactly what happens. It's kind of like a mushroom trip. If anyone here has ever delved into the psychedelic world, if you haven't, I would suggest you watch this TED Talk. We're talking about end-of-life patients, and they did a study with using psilocybin with end-of-life patients. And over 90%, I think it was, I can't even remember now, 93, 95 something percent of the participants said that it was in the top 5 most meaningful experiences that they have had in their life. And I have to tell you, from my personal experience of it, which after watching that, like, I mean, I had done it in high school, but after watching this video, I started doing research, and I'm like, okay, like, what dose are they taking? What's going on here? Because I want to experience this too. So I, figured out the dose, took it, and it changed something for me. It unblocked something for me. So what psilocybin actually does is it opens the capillaries in your brain. So it actually increases brain function. You're actually able to use more of your brain. And studies have shown that 6 months afterwards, people who took this and they had depression, that there was still effects 6 months later, positive, life-giving effects, however long later. And we have to consider that this is on our earth. It's a gift. It's a gift. What a wonderful gift. And I don't know, I've never done ayahuasca, but I know that some of the tribes in Peru, that they will put that on the women will put it on their breast so that the baby is able to consume some of this, because it is a spiritual thing. And I have to say, it is a spiritual thing. It's, for myself, the very first time that I ever did it, all it was love. All it was love. And I laughed about nothing, which is still what happens here today, but for different reasons. I laughed about nothing for hours. And it just released this joy in me that had been stuck. That there wasn't this, it was life-giving. What a life-giving thing. So there's so many different things that are here for us, and all of them that are so deep and meaningful have something to do with love. Isn't that interesting? That it all has to do with love. So if you're not living in that highest vibration of love, you are suffering in some way. You're either suffering physically, which comes from your mental state, or mentally, or whatever it happens to be. But if you are not living from a place of love, you are suffering in some way. So if you were to think about the amount of thoughts that you have throughout a day that are not loving towards yourself or towards other people, how many are there? Hundreds, thousands, 5, 2? All that energy that you're putting out that's not loving, you're weaving it into the fabric of your reality. All the worries that you have, all that stress, you're weaving it through this fabric of your reality. So then, you're saying, oh, I want this, and maybe that thing is going to come to you, but it's going to be woven with those other things in it as well. Because if they exist within you, then they exist within your world. Plain and simple, end of story. So how do we begin to clear this away? Let's say that we have fear, we have some type of something, and it's gripped us. How do we clear this away? Study the Christ letters. Study them. It will help you. It will help you to see. It will help you to understand, that we reap as we sow. It will help you to become more conscious of, ooh, I don't want to sow those seeds into the fabric of my reality. I don't want to do it. I need to let it go. Let's say that you have somebody to forgive. Many people do. Sometimes it's themselves. Sometimes it's somebody else. If you imagine a younger version of that person or of yourself, it is much easier to forgive that younger version, because you can see that that younger version of them or you or whoever it was not loved properly, which is why the result is the way that it is. Because there wasn't proper love, so they don't know how to properly love, you don't know how to properly love, and so it causes damage. So what? Okay, I wasn't properly loved, whatever. It can be changed. And I can heighten my vibe so high that I just attract loving, caring, wonderful people, relationships, whatever happens to be in my life, because that's what's woven into the fabric of my reality, because that is what I've been putting out. So that is what I'm going to get back. But when we half do it, when we're only half doing it, we're going to get only half back. Because we reap as we sow. So if you're not living from a place of love within you, you're harming yourself. And it's really hard to stop doing these things, isn't it? Like, I know, okay, I'll get this fear about this something, or the whatever will come, or this will happen. It's like, but then you work through it. You work through it. So you go into a deep meditative state. You invite the divine in. Invite the divine in to relieve you of your issue. And believe 100% with no doubt that a solution will come to you. And then a solution will come to you. That fast. The best solution. Anytime that we do things of ourself, it could cause damage. Let's say that you have a crush on somebody. And you just think, the world of them, that they're just this wonderful person, but they're not giving to you. And you're like, oof. Well, you know what? The divine, we can decide, I want this, I want that, I want that. But when we ask the divine to intervene and to bring only what is best, and we trust that we will only get the best, then the divine will do this for you. But it is through belief. It is through 100% belief with no doubt. Now, how do we do this? If you have not experienced the love of the divine that's literally in every molecule that you can see, if you've not experienced it, then having doubt is completely normal. So this is why I'm telling you, study the Christ letters so that you can become enlightened, so that you can feel this love of the divine, and then you will know that you know, just like I know that I know, and you will be able to speak and create miraculous things in your life. This is why I keep mentioning the Christ letters. They are truth. Now, you know that the words that you cast on your lips are like spells. All of them. They carry within them a certain vibration, a frequency. They're alive. They're cast out into the space and are created, given life form. What one speaks and believes with conviction, one manifests. But what one speaks and doesn't believe, it's all about the vibration that it's carrying with it. It's all about the vibration it's carrying with it. So when I say things like this, and I would love for you to repeat after me, we're creating heaven on earth. I live in heaven. I live in heaven. This is a heavenly place. When I look around, I see beautiful things everywhere that I look. There is nowhere that I look that I do not see something that is so beautiful. There's beauty everywhere to behold in this world. And miraculous things happen to me every single day. Wonderful people come into my life. Wonderful offers are given to me. When we speak in this way, our visible reality begins to change. And when we speak in this way, it becomes the truth. Even if it didn't feel like the truth when you maybe started speaking it, it becomes the truth. Because the words that you speak manifest whether you want them to or not. So be careful what it is that you are speaking. You know what I'm saying? So, I guess our lesson here today is to become aware of what it is that you're holding, what it is that you're carrying within you, within your body, just like that relaxation exercise we did at the start. Whatever places of you are unrelaxed, it's because you're carrying some type of energy in those unrelaxed places that are trying to get your attention, and they're trying to tell you to let go of something or to heal something. Or they're trying to get you to, they're pushing you to do something, to maybe take action in some way. So if you want to find out what those parts are trying to tell you, you can get that book, remember, The Secret Language of Your Body, or you can meditate and you can tune into those parts. You can imagine shrinking yourself up really teeny tiny, jump into those parts, maybe it's your shoulders, and say, what do you want? What are you trying to tell me? And then just listen, just be quiet. And what thoughts come to you? What do you think it is? What comes into your mind after that? And it's like, oh, I don't know, maybe it's this. Yes, it is. If there's a maybe, if there's the thought came to you for a reason. So then deal with it. You know, let it go. Forgive that person. Love yourself. Do the thing. Stop doing the thing. Quit the habit. Whatever it is, listen to your body because it's talking to you. That energy is telling you something, and it's telling you, hey, you're out of alignment. There's something better for you. You could be feeling better. This isn't how it's supposed to be. It's speaking to you. So listen to it. Your body is like a blueprint causing physical aches and pains, where emotional aches and pains go on unattended. Thanks for listening to this podcast here today. I love you all so much. Thanks for taking the time. Please like, share, comment, subscribe, share this with a friend. If you got any friends that you think would think this was nice to listen to. Anyways, I love you all. And I will see you guys in the next one. Take care.